I'd rather fail on my own than succeed with help. Does that really make sense? As I bang my mic here. Hello, everybody. It's good to see you. And we are live here. I don't do a lot of lives here on YouTube, but I'm going to start changing that up a little bit. Not doing a lot of the production, post-production stuff. That just takes so much time, and it slows my ability to get content out to you guys. But for those of you who don't know me, my name is Mark Dolfini. Man, I'm hot on that mic. Holy crap. My name is Mark Dolfini, and I am a life and business strategist for business owners and entrepreneurs and family business owner-operators. You are why I do this, and you are why I spend a sharpening my saw, because you guys don't have the time to do that, but I do, and I spend a lot of time doing that. If I'm not in coaching calls with my clients, I'm spending most of my time really going through books, researching, going back and connecting dots and things like that that are important to you as married business owners who've got kids at home. That's a lot of the people who watch this show and come to me. I help them navigate those waters. So one of the biggest challenges that, if you look at the banner here, I'd rather fail on my own than succeed with help. That is such a rampant problem that I see among business owners who, whether they like come to me, they're kind of dipping their toe, they're not really sure that they want to engage with me because they're afraid that I'm going to, try to insert myself as their strategist. And that's not all what I do. I never want anybody to feel like I'm trying to overhelp or offer help that maybe isn't what they want, because and I can tell you that I felt this way for a really long time, that if I accepted help from someone else, that it was somehow that I failed, that I would rather just fail on my own than to succeed with someone else's help along the way. And man, that held me back. That held me back so many years. And I really hope that is something that you can set aside, because it really doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. And not only is this thought self-defeating and self-sabotaging, it also is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Ask me how I know. I struggled for years until I learned to set that aside. The interesting thing about that is that I noticed that it's interesting, because when you don't accept help from someone else, it gives you a built-in excuse for if you fail. Does that make sense? Like, it gives you that, it's like, well, I kind of did it on my own, but then you can kind of have this built-in excuse that, well, I didn't really have anybody to help me. I was kind of doing it all on my own. I really didn't know what I was doing. If you're even willing to admit that, I know I wasn't, right? And this is one of the things that I notice about small business entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs in general, people who own family businesses, is that it's amazing how smart they are. It really is. Like, they are some of the most resourceful, intelligent people that I've ever met, and they have really good work ethics. So they are really smart and they have a really good work ethic. The problem is they're really smart and they have a really good work ethic. And the reason that becomes a problem is because they're really smart, they feel that every problem that comes to them is a problem they have to solve. And because it's extra work that's involved, they're not afraid to get their hands dirty. They're not afraid to put in a 16, 18, 20-hour day. Heck, they've done it all the time, right? Sometimes working 6-7 days a week. It's just all part of the course, right? It's all par for the course. They all feel that it's just part of it. So why wouldn't I, why would I want to accept help, right? Well, the interesting thing is that they don't ask for help. And again, this is all stuff that I have experienced, and I see this quite often too, is they don't want to look stupid. They don't want to feel like, well, I should know this. This is something that I should know. Well, look, in the context of 4 core functions of business, right? When you have lead generation, sales, operations, and accounting. Lead gen, sales, operations, accounting. Those are the 4 core functions of business. And if you think about that for a second, if you really understand lead generation, if you really understand everything that goes into sales and everything that goes into the operation of your business, whatever your business is, whatever the operational functions are of their business. So if you're a baker, you bake cakes. If you're a roofer, you put on roofs, right? So now you got the operational functions, accounting. Some of those things are diametrically opposed. You're just not going to know all those things. And even if you're kind of good at lead gen, you're mediocre at sales, but you're a really good roofer, almost always accounting gets ignored. And generally it sounds like, well, I've got more money in my bank account this month than last month. I must be doing okay, right? I've said that. And as much as I am embarrassed to admit that, I have an accounting degree. I have no reason to say that. But I am also the worst person to do accounting, whether in my real estate business or in my strategic coaching business. I'm the worst person to do the accounting. I know I just flat won't do it, right? And when it came to stuff like lead generation, I didn't really want to admit to other people that I didn't know what I was doing. And it wasn't until I hired my mentor, who really helped me speak from stages and be much more compelling when I'm sharing my story, right? I didn't really even know how to share a story in a very compelling way. Things really started to change. But it wasn't until I admitted that I didn't really know what I was doing and started reaching out to those gurus, those individuals who are really good at that one specific narrow thing, whether it's in lead generation or sales or the operational function or accounting, right? So that is one big thing. The other thing that I've noticed is a fear of success. Now, this is probably more personal to me. Not too many people tell me that they have a fear of success. And the interesting thing is, what I've noticed about a fear of success is it's actually related to a fear of loss. Now, hear me out. A fear of success is it's easier to never have something than to have it and lose it. That is what I think a fear of success is really about, because it's easier to always struggle. The struggle is very familiar, but it's a lot harder to have some success, to have some things that are around success, only to lose it later on. It's like I would rather never have it, right? And that's related to a fear of success. The last one here that I'm going to make this quick point, and we're going to wrap this video up, is people who have a high need for certainty in their life. And this is very, very true for me. Not so much now, but it definitely was earlier on, where I had a real high need for certainty in my life. And let me just ask you a question. Have you ever had lunch or dinner with someone who is just miserable? Right? They're just not happy unless you're miserable, they're miserable, everyone around them is miserable, right? They're just not happy unless they're miserable. Right? We've all so you go to lunch with them and they're complaining about the food, the parking, the service, how hot or cold it is in the restaurant, how bright or sunny it is out. It's just too hot in there, it's too cold in there. Man, it's a nightmare, right? Well, the reason why is because they tend to be very certainty driven. People who are just miserable all the time, they tend to be very certainty driven, meaning they need a lot of certainty in their life. And because they need a lot of certainty in their life, there's a lot of certainty in misery, right? They can make themselves miserable, they can make other people miserable, and that's how they get their certainty. So in terms of certainty in your life, the reason you don't necessarily maybe are not reaching out for help, I know this was very true for me, is that I had to set aside some certainty in order to ask some other people that maybe were going to be heading me down a path that was just uncertain. I just didn't know. I knew what I knew, and I knew my certain little miserable little business, but I wasn't really truly ready for it to grow, right? Because I was just stuck in that certainty, and I was stuck in the muck. And I knew the muck, and the muck was very familiar. The struggle, the grind, the rut was very familiar. And there's some certainty to that. Even though it's certainty that you don't necessarily want, it's the certainty that you have. So that is everything. I know this is kind of a weird topic. I'd rather fail on my own than succeed with help. But think about this for just a second in terms of how that might be playing out in your life. And I know it played out in my life for years, probably most of my 30s. It played out that I would rather just struggle along and not ask for anybody's help. I didn't want anybody to know that I didn't know what I was doing. I really didn't want to get success and then lose it, which definitely happened to me anyway, because when I was heading into 2008, I had all these rental units, and then I lost a good chunk of all the ones that I built, over the previous 10 years. And again, there was certain aspects of my life where I was just absolutely miserable, and I had a high need for certainty. So, if this is playing out in your life, think about how maybe you can change that and set that aside. If you want to reach out and hop on a discovery call, if there's anything that you think I might be able to help you with, head to markdolfini.com and you can sign up for a quick 15-minute discovery call, and we will get you sorted out. And we'll have a conversation. It will not be a sales call. I don't operate that way. But hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you guys next time.